Today on Bench Briefs, we're looking at a landmark Supreme Court of Canada decision that touches on language rights and the federal government's role in protecting minority communities. The case is Société de l'Acadie du Nouveau-Brunswick v. Canada, decided on June 12, 2026. This ruling shines a spotlight on the constitutional protections afforded to the Acadian community in New Brunswick and raises important questions about how far the federal government can go when it comes to minority language rights. So, what's the story here? The Société de l'Acadie du Nouveau-Brunswick is an organization that represents the Acadian people, a vibrant French-speaking community with deep roots in New Brunswick. In 2026, the Prime Minister's office published a new federal document. While the details of this document might sound technical, its impact was significant. It was alleged to affect the constitutional rights and status of the Acadian community. Feeling that this new publication undermined their constitutional protections, the Société challenged the federal government's action, bringing the matter all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada. At the heart of this dispute is a delicate balance. On one side, you have the federal government, which holds certain powers under the Constitution, including responsibilities related to language and minority rights. On the other, you have the Acadian community, whose linguistic and cultural identity is protected by constitutional guarantees. The question the Supreme Court had to answer was whether the federal government's publication of this document overstepped those boundaries and infringed upon the Acadians' constitutionally protected rights. Let's break down the legal issues the court faced. First, the justices needed to clarify the scope of the federal government's constitutional powers concerning minority language rights. This meant examining what authority the government truly has when it comes to policies or documents that might affect linguistic minorities. Second, the court analyzed the validity of the new document itself. Was it consistent with the Constitution, or did it conflict with established protections? Finally, the court considered whether the Prime Minister's actions by publishing this document violated any specific constitutional provisions designed to safeguard the Acadian community. The Supreme Court's task was no small feat. Minority language rights in Canada are enshrined in both the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and various constitutional provisions, reflecting the country's commitment to protecting its diverse cultural mosaic. The Acadians, as one of Canada's official language minority groups, have a special place in this landscape. The court's ruling had to balance respecting the government's ability to govern effectively while ensuring that the fundamental rights of minority communities are not compromised. Why does this case matter beyond the courtroom? For one, it reaffirms the importance of constitutional protections for minority language communities in Canada. In a country that prides itself on bilingualism and multiculturalism, decisions like this shape how governments at all levels approach policymaking that touches on language rights. It also serves as a reminder that even well-intentioned government actions must be carefully scrutinized to avoid unintended harm to vulnerable communities. The ruling provides guidance on how far the federal government can go in issuing policy documents or directives without infringing on constitutionally protected rights. Moreover, this decision highlights the ongoing dialogue in Canada about identity, language, and the role of government. It underscores that constitutional rights are not static. They require active protection and interpretation to remain meaningful in changing times. For the Acadian community, this case is a reaffirmation of their place within Canada's constitutional framework and a signal that their rights will be vigilantly defended. To sum up, Société de l'Acadie du Nouveau-Brunswick versus Canada is a pivotal case that clarifies the federal government's powers and responsibilities regarding minority language rights. It reinforces the constitutional safeguards that protect the Acadian community and, by extension, all official language minorities in Canada. The Supreme Court's decision serves as both a legal benchmark and a powerful statement about the enduring value of linguistic and cultural diversity in the Canadian Federation. Thanks for listening to Bench Briefs. Join us next time for another episode where we break down important legal cases shaping Canada's legal landscape. Until then, take care.